Alright guys, so I've been playing Persona 3 Reload the most, and I just finished Persona 4, and I was thinking like it'd be kind of cool to go through the like best party members. I didn't use that many during 4, so I was like, I'm gonna go to the game I know best, right? If this video does well, obviously I'm probably gonna make another one for 4 and 5. But if you like the video, like, subscribe. But all I'm gonna be doing, going through best party members, putting them on this tier list, and we'll see from there. For obvious reasons, I can't rank the main character, and I'm not gonna rank the navigator either, because she like it costs you nothing to use her, and he's as good as you are. So it's not really like something worth talking about. But the criteria I will have in this video, one, I will rank them based on how useful they are throughout the entire time period of the game, with the exception of one character, which you will know. And I also am ranking them based off how well they work with others. I think that's just as important as them being good on their own. And I think it really hurts some characters and it really helps some characters, but it shouldn't be too much. I don't think anybody's like overly good when they work for somebody else. There are definitely some star players on this, but I wouldn't say I wouldn't say like it's that big a deal. It hurts people more than it helps people. But let's get on with the list. All right, so first up we got Yukari. Yukari might be like the best example of a perfect unit in the turn-based game I can think of. She does everything in her role to perfection. She has amazing healing. She has amazing support. Well, I wouldn't call her support mech. She's really here for just the healing. But her support's solid. And then her magic stats high. Like, she's honestly insane. And then her characteristic lets you have, reduces your SP cost by 75% whenever you're using healing skills. It's honestly just amazing. The only thing I could think of that might be her weakness is if you run her with another person I'll get into later in the list. Because I think they conflict in a way that I don't think is worth running. And personally, I like to run slightly more defensive teams. So when we get there, I'll do more explaining. But I'll throw up my build I used on my run or runs. Um, and honestly, I don't think it's anything too special. I think most people ran something very similar, if not the exact same. It's I think these are just obviously her best skills. Like, yeah, you're not going to be using her for damage, so I guess you could get rid of Windbreak or Wind Amp, whichever. But I do think she's not really going to be being used for her ailments. I don't think you don't get as much value out of that. I personally feel like if you're gonna run ailments, I'd say use it on Mitsuru, and I'll get into that later. But I just don't think they do as much in this Persona game as like you could be doing with other skills. I would rather just buff my party's agility at that point, right? Like I don't think it's worth using, especially late game. But speaking of late game, she's amazing through the entire game. This is the best you can get in this game, in my personal opinion. I think she's the best party member, and everybody else kind of fulfills in roles similar in a similar way where they're like really good at them. Like, I think there's characters that are really good at things, but nobody's Yukari. Yukari is basically perfect. All right, so next up we have Junpei, right? After further consideration, I think Junpei is A tier. And the reason I think he's A tier, originally when I did this list, I had him in like B. But I thought about him, like, he is probably the best physical party member, just like straight up. I'd say in the beginning of the game is where he's the worst. I wouldn't say he's not worth running, but he's like on the weaker end of the team. I think it's not until like around August, October, he really starts getting like, he starts moving up. But with that being said, once he does start moving up, he is probably one of the best members on the team just outright. I don't use him that much, but you can make the case for using him pretty easily. He's a crit machine. Everything about him, like all his physical attacks, they're great, honestly. And he can buff the party's defense. And I'll put my build up on the screen. I think this is probably the best way to run him. You could probably switch some stuff around. I didn't use him too much, so I wouldn't know too much. But I think like generally he belongs around A tier. I have Warple Blade, Brave Blade, and Gigantic Fist, Vile Assault. I think all his physical attacks is bread and butter. I think his fire attacks, they're, like you can use them, but that's not why you're using them. You know what I mean? Like I just use it to hit weaknesses. But if they resist any physical, like if they resist his physical skills, and I don't know, it's kind of like, because his fire is decent, but look at his magic stat. I know he's only level 77 in this screenshot, but like, all honesty, I think he's really good. He's not the same level as Yukari for me, but I could see why you would put him in S tier. I just don't agree with it in my list. All right, so next up we got Akihiko. I know this is probably going to disappoint some people. I don't think he's that good. I think he's like one of the worst party members in the game, right? I think everything he provides for the team, you can get in another like character better, right? Like even his electric skills, I think, aren't that good. His physical skills aren't that good. You get better coverage with different team comps, just not including him. I think the only thing that like really stands out for him, in my opinion, is the fact that he can lower attack, I believe. He has Tarunda. Yeah, that. I don't know, like I think he's a solid pick, but he really falls off a late game in my opinion. Like I just don't see why I'd use him. He's somebody like when you first get him, he's solid, and he just slowly gets worse and worse each full moon boss in my opinion. Now, I wouldn't say he's unrunnable. I don't think anybody in this team is unrunnable, or anybody in this game is unrunnable. You have to just make uncomfortable compromises. And I think his problem with him, at least me personally, I don't see a reason to run him where I couldn't run somebody else and get a better result. Especially considering his competition, which I will mention when I get to them. But especially considering his competition, because I think his competition is like honestly like just better than him, just outright personally. But that's all I really have to say for Akihiko. His theurgies are okay. Like everybody else previous to him, like Yukari's theurgy is so good. Like a charge or a concentrate for the whole party, insane. Junpei, what his like severe physical damage, or the fire one, I think that one heals you too. Like his theurgy is pretty good. And then also, I think, even though I know it's worded wrong, but his characteristic I don't think is that great. Like to charge his theurgy, so I don't know. He just kind of struggles in my eyes. I think he's kind of just like, you definitely can replace him pretty easily. All right, next up on the list we got Mitsuru, and honestly, I think she's a little underrated, but I get why she's not liked. All right, her characteristic for her theurgy charging is kind of, it's kind of whatever. Like it's not that great. But at the same time, I think like as a unit, she does her job very well. You need a hard magic hitter. She has concentrate, and she has diamond dust. Like that's amazing. First of all, that's amazing. But I think like the problem with her is your bread and butter being the like just applying ailments. It's not that good, especially if you're doing a boss fight. It's just irrelevant at that point most of the time. It's irrelevant. And even when it is relevant, a lot of the times I do think you could probably pick somebody else. Not that she's bad though. Like I think if you're specifically going into a boss fight, you know exactly what the boss is doing. You memorize everything. Yeah, you're not probably gonna pick her up, right? Like there's a decent amount of time where I think you could find somebody better than her, like Junpei or somebody else we might get into on the list. But like the problem with her is she does pump out really good consistent damage, but there's also people I think who could do it a little bit better. But I don't think it's wrong to pick her over them. Like Junpei puts out better damage than her. Also her theurgies. The first one, the ice one, I forgot the name of it. I'm sorry. I forgot the name. But that one's pretty solid. But the one I really think is amazing is the one with the almighty damage that applies debilitate. You can do some crazy stuff with Yukari and her with that. Just that. Like if you're running, like if your team is the main character, and then these three, you can do some good damage. All right, you can do some amazing damage. I think that's probably one of the better setups. I'll get into team building in the end of the video. But as for now, I think Mitsuru is just a really solid pick. She has solid theory. Her characteristic is kind of and like I'm probably showing it now, but her like the build I have for her, it does a lot of good damage. She can be slowed down a lot if the enemy resists ice, like because it takes another turn to apply ice break or whatever. At least for her to be self-sufficient in doing so. But like you're going through Tartarus, I think she's a really solid pick because if they are weak to ice, she's gonna destroy them. And then as for her like how good she is throughout the whole game, I think she falls off in the middle actually. I think she's solid when you get her, and then she kind of like dips down. I don't think she gets really good until you get concentrate diamond dust, because at that point you kind of can use her to her full potential. Whereas in the middle, it's kind of like you got bits and pieces of what make her great. One big problem I will say that I was like holding her back from being better than Junpei is why she's lower than him on the list. She struggles with SP even in late game unless you're running an item, which I think that's good enough. Like if you run something that gets rid of that. And like for everybody, obviously you're going to be running whatever helps them the most. Like with her, you're going to run something that stops her from getting ailments. Something with him, maybe something to make him crit more, along those lines. Whatever you find the best. But she does struggle with SP without it. Like you kind of are forced into it. Like I don't think there's much else you can do with her. At least with accessories, you kind of have to do that. Other than that, I think she's fine. She's a solid unit. She's really good. I don't really have any complaints about her other than her characteristic, and that's about it. All right, next up I have Aigis. I think Aigis is probably the worst party member after I've been replaying the game, and I think the main reason is she conflicts with who I'd say the best party member is with Yukari, simply because they have the same weakness, right? You don't want two characters down at the same time, right? And then I think like I put up what I ran on her. I think what I ran is probably what most people will run. She's great for damage. Her utility's pretty good too. It's just that she conflicts with Yukari and there's better people. Like if you want a good physical user and you don't want it to be the main character, run Junpei. He's amazing for it. And then even with Junpei, you get more of the benefits of using physical, simply because his theurgy is good for it and his characteristic is good for it. Her theurgy will take her out the fight almost. There's been times where I've used her theurgy and it's pretty much like costing me the match for the fight because I forgot about the fact that you can't control her right after, right? Now, if you're gonna use it, just use it to win the fight. You have to use it to win the fight. There's no other like reason for it. I think the time you get her also conflicts because I would say Junpei mostly his usefulness goes up. Right, he starts pretty solid and then he goes up the farther you get in the game. And compared to her, when you get her, it's like by the time you're using a team and she could be on it, Junpei is probably the better option, right? She's just a case of like she conflicts with everybody you'd run her with in a way that makes her useless, right? The only thing I can think that I really like on her is she has resist physical and enduring soul, which can be amazing. But at the same time, I don't know if I would say it's worth running her. I'm sure there's probably some accessories you can put on her to mitigate the fact that she's weak to the same thing Yukari is, or just something. There's definitely a team comp where she's great. I just don't like it. I don't like her on my team. I do think she has all the makings of a good unit, but if there was one more character in this game that could heal decently, other than Yukari and Ken, like other than those two, I think I could see you running her more. But the problem is Yukari is so good at being the healer, I don't see a reason to take her off the team. Like no matter what you run, there's no reason for Yukari not to be there, I don't think. Which just kind of results in Aigis kind of being meh. And once you conflict with what arguably one of the two best people in the game, it's no point in having you on the team. It's just, I don't know, it's just redundant. All right, that's all for Aegis. I mean, if you have any problems with that, I don't know how controversial that was, but if you have any problem with that, comment down below. We'll see. All right, next up, Koromaru. I think Koromaru, I would say he's a little bit better than Mitsuru, but I could see why. Like, I could see you flipping him. I could see you flipping him either way. I think he has amazing coverage. He covers slash attacks. He covers dark, and he covers fire. That's beautiful, right? I think the only problem with him covering fire is a lot of the times I think you would use him. You'd be using him with Junpei, but I guess that just frees up Junpei in this instance because he's not useless because of that, and Junpei is not useless because of that, because you're going to be running him mostly for physical, right? And even if you do have to run whatever, they don't conflict on many areas, and they complement each other very well, which is why I think Koromaru belongs up here. His theory is great. The one that charges everybody, the one that charges everybody, that's really solid. Like, I would say if you were to, because I'm gonna put up what I used on screen. If you were to want to run mostly physical stuff on the main character, you could put him S tier. But the problem is, the second he's not that good. Like, he's not S tier, right? Like, he's not always like that. Whereas Yukari, you're always gonna need healing. The team's always gonna get hit by something, which is why Yukari belongs here. And even if you're not, she has high magic damage. You might as well just hit him, right? I think he kind of falls off a little bit if you're not running anybody with amazing physical. But I would say for the most part, his standard, easy A tier. He's an easy A tier. I think he's one of the greatest characters they made. In fact, I would honestly say he's part of what I would consider one of the better teams. If I were gonna because I'm gonna go into it at the end of the video. I think it'd be interesting. But I think out of the team comps I would run naturally, he's in one of them. He's in one of them. All right, next up we have Ken. Honestly, every time I see people rank him, I think they underrate him. I think he's S tier. I think he's one of the best, he's the best flex support there possibly could be in this specific game, right? He does everything I need him to do and more, right? His theurgy that revives everybody and puts a shield on them, oh my, it's so good because it's a group revive and a heal, and it provides defense, right? Like, that's everything you could need in a move like that. It's basically perfect. And obviously, I don't think his damage is too high. Like, it's pretty normal. Like, you're not gonna be using him for that, but he's a flex support. Another reason I like using him is because he complements Yukari in a way that I like, because it doesn't force her to heal every single turn, right? Like, say you got an ailment on the whole team or something, and maybe one or two people are low health. She could only get rid of one of those things, one of those problems. You probably go for the heal. But if you got two characters, you can use her to get rid of the ailment and then use him to heal. And at that point, it just works very well. A lot of people don't like his characteristic too. I think it's honestly, I could see where the problems come in, but I think if you're using him the way I used him, it's not that bad. Like, I didn't run into any problems. I pretty much, as you can see on the screen, I have the highest SP items, or not items, moves. I just spam Heat Riser on whoever I wanted at the time, and just keep throwing out things. And if I had nothing else to do, I guess I'd attack. Another thing, I have to mention this because I'm gonna forget it if I don't. His coverage is insane, right? He covers pierce damage, he covers light, and he covers lightning. Now, it's only 3, but it complements the team so, because he's basically a flex, right? And he covers 3 things. He does support, and he has solid damage. Like, I think he's, along with Yukari, I don't think he's ever really that bad. Like, you can have your moments where he brings you back from the brink of death. I am a little bit biased for him because I do like playing more defensively. And I think if you were to have this list made by me and I was the opposite and I like more offensive characters, you'd probably put Junpei in S tier and take him down to B tier probably. But I think he's more of a situation where it's safer to run him, but not more efficient. Uh, I don't think it really matters though. I think you'd probably have a better win rate with Ken on your team, simply because he protects the team so well. He complements everybody just about. He's not really stepping on anybody's toes but him. And like I said earlier, he doesn't mesh well with him because he does everything you need him to do. Right? The only thing that he doesn't have is strike attacks. And that can be easily covered if you're running these three and the main character, that can be easily covered by him. Like he's not essential for anything. And then it's just like, I don't know. I just don't see why people hate him other than the theory so much. Like he's just a solid guy. I don't know. I think I might just be like a minority of this for some reason, right? Maybe I haven't seen enough reasons on why people dislike him, but whenever I use him, I love him. I love Ken. Ken is one of the best characters in this game. Whenever you're in a battle, he's good all the time, just about. All right, next up we have Aragaki. Shinjiro Aragaki, whatever. I think he fulfills the B, and I'm not gonna be too harsh on him in terms of like longevity in game, because like obviously everybody else can Junpei, blah blah blah. You have them the rest of the game once you get him. Once you get him, and yes, spoilers. Once you get him, you're kind of on a time limit, right? He doesn't stick around too long, and that's kind of sad, you know. But I think the time you do have him, he's S tier. Like the moments he is on your team for that period of time, he's S tier. If I was gonna rank him, I think B tier is appropriate because, like, you know, he's good for that section. He's not really good ever again because, you know, you can't use him. But, you know, he's solid, I guess. I mean, there's not much else I can really say. And there's no reason to even say it because it's just hypotheticals at that point. You're not really forming an argument. But yeah, that's pretty much it for, at least for like where I would rank the party members. I think this is probably the best list I can make. But now we're gonna get into like what I would say like team comps would include and why. I'm gonna tell you guys the team I ran, why I ran them, and why I liked it. And I'm gonna tell you some stuff that might mesh well. I don't know. I ain't got nothing else to say. All right, so starting off the team I ran, I liked Yukari. Like I said, I think Yukari belongs on every team. I don't see a reason not to run her. But I ran Yukari, Ken, and Mitsuru, right? Pretty much what I would do, heal with her. He kind of just did whatever he needed to do for the time, right? That's why I like him so much. And she just dump out damage, right? Anything else I needed from the team? Oh my god. Anything else I needed from the team? I pretty much just used the main character for it like you're supposed to, right? If I needed a fire attack, because they don't have fire attacks. This team is solid coverage too. But if I didn't have a fire attack, I'm just using him. Like anything else I needed, I just use him. I think this team is probably like defensively one of the better ones. All right, but defensively, I think this is the best team. I can't imagine a much better team. Maybe Akihiko could work on it for lowering attack. Does he lower attack? Yeah. But I just don't see like a much better defensive team. If you want to run a more offensive setup, this is the other team I probably would have used if I was more interested in offense. It'd be Yukari, Koromaru, and Junpei, or Yukari, Junpei, and Ken. It'd probably be something like that. Maybe Mitsuru. I don't know. Probably, yeah. We're gonna do Yukari, Junpei, Mitsuru. It could be either one of them. Nah. It'd be Yukari, Junpei, and Koromaru. I think if you're gonna run an offensive setup, this is probably the better option. Physical's really good throughout most of the game, and he kind of covers enough of what you need to cover. Like just to get through the game, and then with the main character, same thing. Like you should be able to cover everything with that, and if not, I don't know what to tell you. But this is solid coverage. The only conflicting thing you have on this team is they both have fire, but that just kind of frees one of them up based off of how you're playing. Other than that, I think the team I would recommend for a new player, just to understand the game, it'd probably be Junpei, Yukari, and Akihiko. I think they're like, I don't know, once you there, because like Akihiko's not trash. He's just not great. Like he's very meh to me. Like he's very okay. But that's all. That's about it. That's all I really have to say for the video. If you like the video, like, subscribe, do all that. If the video does well, I'll definitely do another one with Persona 5 members, simply because that's the one I've played the second most. If I do a Persona 4 one, it's going to be after Revival comes out and I played it maybe once or twice. But yeah, if you disagree with me, tell me why. Drop your teams down in the comments, and whatever you like to, whatever your setup for the teams are, like their abilities or whatever. But yeah, it was a pretty fun video to make. I'll see you on the next video.